This is a podcast with a difference. Because no limits is what we talk about. We'll talk about anything. I am Dada. We are talking about cars. Click.
Africa.
Click it. Click. Click.
Africa.
Mini Cooper. There is power in small things. The Mini Cooper was indeed a people's car merely because it was loved by first-timers. It was cheap to maintain and it ran on virtually no fuel at all. This car is a definite contender for our people's car. Talking about film. Okay, talking about the news, motor, a courier motor. Okay, all right. Peugeot 544, Mashumba. Motai, this was my dream car. They just got a pass. It out in this motai. That I got 544. The Peugeot 544 Fiber Mashumba. I so loved this car. You know, growing up, this was my dream. It was my source of all my motoring fantasies. But honestly, who didn't love the GR? There was something charming and alluring, you know, about the body structure, which somehow oozed robustness and style. You know, the distinctive growling sound of the engine. It was one you couldn't only hear, but you could actually feel it, you know. I was particularly reminded of that sensation and of the reason why a car that doesn't growl is not worthy being called a car when I first got onto an electric car. Of course, it's clean and good for the environment, and I can't afford it. But if at all I could, I wouldn't swap the growling of the compression engine for anything. There's something masculine about that growl. Something that inspires strength and power and gives you a feeling of invincibility. I can go on and on about this car. I can eulogize about that, just that lion badge, just the badge. There is no better emblem of power, superiority, strength, and dominance than that of a lion. Yes, the 544 was my dream. It was my dream car, but unfortunately, the dream remained a pipe. It never came true. Power Net GR, which was the favorite of most drivers, Net GL, we didn't really know. Maybe let me speak for myself, but I didn't actually know the difference in terms of specifications. All I knew was that the GR was more attractive because it stood more imposing. Somehow, with a higher suspension. But now I know the difference. And I wasn't wrong. The main differences between the two are in terms of the engine specifications and overall performance. As for the engine, the GR had a 2-liter petrol engine that produced 95 horsepower, while the GL had a 1.8-liter engine that produced 84 horsepower. Additionally, the GR had a carburetor engine, while the GL had a fuel injection engine. Those are the two main differences. Well, that's one of them. The other one was the performance. The 504 GR obviously performed better with a top speed of 170 kilometers per hour. And it went from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 11.1 seconds. The GL had a top speed of 158 kilometers per hour, and it did 0 to 60 miles per hour in 13.8 seconds. I'm talking about sedans. Sedans. Then, station wagons. This is what sways this car to become the top contender for people's car of Zimbabwe.
For thousands of years, there was only one way of crossing this Spartan landscape in the vast, dusty heat of North Africa. This was it. It was used by the Greeks, the Romans, the Berbers, the Phoenicians, the Vandals, the Arabs, the Carthaginians, the Ottomans, the French, the Tuareg, the Italians, and the British. But then, in 1968, the camel's 4,000-year monopoly was ended by the Peugeot 504. Many people imagine it was Land Rover or Jeep that brought internal combustion to the world's most impregnable backwaters, but really, it was this. The King of Africa, as they called it. Yes, it had good ground clearance and parts were cheap. But what really endeared this mighty Peugeot to Africa was its rugged dependability. You regularly hear tales around these parts of 504s that have done 1 million kilometers and which have been to places that no Land Rover could reach without falling to pieces. 40 years ago then, Peugeot was a byword for sturdy toughness and common sense. But then, in 1983, Peugeot decided it didn't want to make strong, sturdy, beige cars anymore. It wanted to throw off its sensy panties and be sporty and frivolous and fun. So it completely changed direction.
Le Motole is definitely in this people's car with a shout. It was assembled in Mutare, by the way, Mutare, British Island, from 1965 to 1968 to 1978, if I'm not mistaken. It was in production from 1968 to 1983, selling over 3.7 million units worldwide. Did you know what GR and GL stands for? I'll school you. GR stands for Grand Raid. In French, it roughly translates to long distance race or grand journey. And that indicates that the 504 GR may have been designed for rough terrain or long distance journeys. GL stands for Grand Lux or Grand Luxury, which only have been a gimmick to promote the 504 GL as a luxurious car. When it comes to grand luxury in cars, we all know what grand luxury is. We know that, don't we? Don't we? Don't we know? Fortunately, the people's car doesn't have to be grandly luxurious. And Le Motole is one of those cars that are in with a proper shout to be Zimbabwe's people's car.
Nyore nyore